What are your top 3 priorities for the Atlanta Police Department?
Leadership, deployment, and compensation.
And as a police officer or as a citizen, in your first 100 days as mayor, what am I going to see? What's going to change?
The first thing you're going to see is a new police chief, and it is my goal to hire from within the force. I will work very hard to hire from within the force. It would be, I believe that it is critical to do so because many times we bring people in from outside the region, and it is very difficult for you to know where the city limits are. There are a lot of people in this town, or people who come here from outside, who think that the city of Atlanta is 2 miles east and west of Peachtree Street. So it takes a really long time to understand that there is an Adamsville, a Ben Hill, a Kirkwood, a Polar Rock, a Browns Mill, or a Moore's Mill. It's just really hard. So I want someone leading the police department who has an in-depth knowledge of the department itself, of the city, and can hit the ground running. The second thing that's critical is we have to do a better job of working with the court system. We know that we've got tremendous issues with all of our courts, and Councilman Martin and I, several years ago, went to Fulton County Superior Court, Atlanta Municipal Court, Fulton County Juvenile Court, and to Paul Howard's office to deal with some of the repeat offender issues, some of the court problems that we're having with the courts. So you've got to get in there and work on that very, very quickly. We know that we have to restore the increments. Everyone has said so. In the first 100 days, we will be looking at the FY11 budget. So it will be time, as a new mayor comes on board, to talk about how we're going to do that, and also to go out and sell it to the citizens. One of the things that a mayor must do is to be the spokesperson for those things that are important. And I have been in broadcasting and communication all of my life. I have a broadcast voice business. As y'all know, it occasionally sends out robocalls. I try to do them when they're important. Like when the boil water advisory hit Buckhead last week, I sent out a robocall. I am not someone who will send you 6 in a day. But also with emails, getting in touch with the citizens, letting them know what's going on. I believe in being totally transparent. It is other people's money. So clearly we have to do that. We have to deal with the hassles of the department. And by hassles, I mean everything from equipment to uniforms to computer programs not working right to computers not in the cars, where when I talk with the men and women, I get really good information from what's going on at the beat officer level. We also have to do a beat redesign, and we have to look at the deployment of the different special forces, some of which are critically necessary, but some entourage forces and some of the
I'm concerned about the selection of our next chief, and I know that our police force has not had a stellar police chief for over 15 years, which means our commanders haven't had role models. They haven't learned problem-solving skills. They haven't adopted community policing. San Francisco just did a nationwide search and was able to tap into that. Will there be a nationwide component where outsiders can at least apply to be our chief of police?
Absolutely, Lou. Absolutely. And as you may be aware, the Atlanta Police Foundation is conducting a study right now as to whether or not it would help the city to have a public safety director that would be over both police and fire. And they're also doing a study about a police commissioner, that there would be a police commissioner and also a police chief. When I met with them 2 weeks ago, they were going in depth about what they would be reporting back to all mayoral candidates and wanting to work with the mayoral candidates. So I want to see what their report is, and also, as I said before we got started, want to work with you on those issues of hiring a new chief. I think it is critically important that we get the right man or woman in that position. I know it's important that the men and women have someone who is a top cop that they absolutely respect, admire, want to go to work for every day. These men and women are so courageous, and they deserve someone who has their esteem. Doesn't have to be their best friend, but it ought to be somebody that they wake up every morning and say, I'm going to go out and make sure that I never let him or her down. We've got to get back to that.
Mary, there's been an increase in the privately funded neighborhood security patrols, many of which are staffed by off-duty Atlanta police officers. Many of my neighbors feel this is a vote of no confidence for the Atlanta Police Department, for the command staff and for the management, yet they really enjoy the officers that they know. How do you feel about these supplemental neighborhood patrols?
Well, in my own neighborhood, we have had a patrol. It is not off-duty police officers. It's a private security force. And my husband and I participated in that and paid hundreds of dollars every year since 1984 to pay in addition to whatever taxes. So I understand with our challenging topography, with our tree cover, it is very hard to have somebody on the street every place you need them. What I believe is critical is that where people have had private security forces, whether off-duty officers or not, or other security forces, that everyone is working together. We have Midtown Blue, we have different neighborhood forces, we have Downtown Ambassadors Force, which of course is a different issue, but we have the Capitol Police, we have Georgia Tech Police. We need much better integration among all of these different men and women who are trying to keep us safe, as well as the integration that is occurring with Homeland Security, with surveillance, with the radio networks, as well as the new ways that we can communicate with internet-based software that can communicate with citizens, with neighborhood groups on getting our communities safer. So I'm a big proponent of having everyone work together. And we would all love the day where we did not need to have those ancillary forces. While we do, we need to make sure that they are working hand in glove with our men and women of the force so that everyone in our city is safe. And I am opposed to some people who are safe and some people who are not safe. It is our job as a city to make sure that everyone is safe 24/7.
These neighborhood patrols are predicated on a relationship with a police officer over time. Now, you mentioned that you would restore the increments. What other things can you do to try to keep our line police officers in continuous service in one neighborhood?
Well, that's why I'm saying community policing, and redoing the beats. I believe that the beats should be aligned according to neighborhoods and NPUs, because right now it's a system that y'all understand, but citizens don't know. And I believe that we could do the beats according to how big the neighborhood is, what those areas are, but you could know that this is your daytime officer in Ormwood Park. You could know that and have the communication between the NPUs, which I believe, having been on 2 NPU boards, I am a big proponent of the NPUs, but there are some things that we can do there that can communicate more broadly to more citizens, and that service can be a much more robust and effective service. And let me give you an example. I believe we need surveillance cameras in neighborhoods, and I don't ever want it to be Big Brother, that you come in and one day you go home to your neighborhood and there's a camera. So I propose that we do the same way we do zoning, that you notify the neighbors by mail or by email in whatever way they want to be notified if there is a proposal to put a camera up at a known drug house. And that way you'll go through a process that will be similar to when other major issues affect a neighborhood. But we need surveillance cameras not only in our business districts and our tourist districts, we need surveillance cameras where there is illegal dumping, known drug houses, etc. But back, Lou, to your question, I want to see home ownership of police officers in the city. I instituted a Home Atlanta program, which is a down payment assistance program when there was the issuance of the housing opportunity bonds. I would be promoting that strongly with our officers. Already talked with the foundation about how that could work.